They stole my century-old barn for parts, so I sued their entire development. The first time Jacob Mercer noticed something missing, he thought it was vandalism. A few loose boards had disappeared from the side of his barn. Nothing major, nothing worth calling the police over. But 2 weeks later, more boards were gone. Then, an entire section of weathered oak siding vanished overnight. That's when Jacob realized somebody wasn't vandalizing his property. They were harvesting it. The barn sat on the edge of his 140-acre farm. It had been built in 1919 by his great-grandfather. Every beam was hand-cut oak. Every iron hinge was forged by local blacksmiths. The structure had survived floods, storms, and over a century of Kentucky winters. And now pieces of it were disappearing. Jacob installed trail cameras around the property. 3 nights later, he got his answer. The footage showed a pickup truck entering. Through a gap in the fence after midnight, several men climbed out carrying tools. They removed planks, old hardware, and sections of wood before driving away. Jacob recognized the truck immediately. It belonged to a contractor working in the new luxury housing development being built across the road. The next morning, he drove to the construction site. What he saw made his blood boil. Several newly constructed homes featured decorative barn wood accents. The wood looked familiar because it was. His century-old barn was literally being installed inside million-dollar homes. Jacob confronted the site manager. The manager laughed. "It's just old wood," he said. "Nobody's going to care." That turned out to be the most expensive sentence he would ever say. Jacob contacted the County Historical Preservation Office. An inspector arrived 3 days later. After examining the structure, she discovered something nobody had realized. The barn wasn't just old, it was officially listed in a regional agricultural heritage survey, completed decades earlier. Because of its age and historical significance, removing material from the structure without authorization carried serious penalties. Suddenly, this wasn't a simple theft case. It was destruction of a protected historical resource. Jacob hired attorney Rebecca Sloan. She immediately began investigating. What she discovered was even worse. The contractor wasn't acting alone. Emails obtained during discovery revealed executives from the housing development had specifically requested authentic reclaimed wood for marketing purposes. The development advertised genuine century-old farmhouse materials throughout its promotional brochures. The executives knew exactly where the wood was coming from, and they knew they didn't own it. Rebecca's lawsuit expanded rapidly. Instead of suing one contractor, she sued the entire development company. Then she subpoenaed purchase records, construction invoices, internal emails, marketing documents. Every piece of evidence painted the same picture. This wasn't theft by mistake. It was a coordinated operation. Over the next 6 months, more evidence emerged. At least 20 homes contained materials stolen from Jacob's barn. Historic beams had been turned into fireplace mantles. Original flooring had become wall decorations. Even antique iron hardware had been installed as luxury design features. The developers had made millions selling homes built partly from stolen history. The trial lasted only 4 days. The jury spent less than 3 hours deliberating. When they returned, the courtroom became completely silent. The verdict was devastating. The development company was found liable for theft, property destruction, trespassing, fraud, and historical preservation violations. But the judge wasn't finished. Because stolen materials had been incorporated into the homes, the court ordered every affected property inspected. Any stolen barn materials still present had to be removed and returned. The developers were also ordered to pay restoration costs, historical damages, legal fees, and punitive damages. The final judgment exceeded $8.4 million. Several company executives resigned within weeks. The contractor lost his license permanently, and construction on the remaining phases of the development stopped entirely. A year later, restoration experts completed repairs on Jacob's barn. Missing sections were rebuilt using historically accurate materials. Today, the old structure looks stronger than ever. Visitors regularly stop to photograph it. A small plaque near the entrance tells its story. But Jacob's favorite view isn't the restored barn. It's the unfinished section of the abandoned development across the road. Every time he looks at it, he's reminded of one simple lesson. If you're going to steal pieces of a man's century-old barn, make sure the barn isn't worth more than your entire development.